explore and analyze are the real workhorse areas of the app. So let's start here. I'll start on explore mode, and I'll collapse my left-hand navigation panel just so that I have more workspace available. You can see, of course, what pops up here is a map of the United States with all of these orange dots. These are all actually transmission substations. We have the whole U.S. mapped, including Alaska, Hawaii out here in the Pacific, and Puerto Rico here in the Caribbean. And what's great about the map mode is it lets you explore around and just see what's available in any area that you might be interested in. So I'll zoom in here in Southern California, and you'll start to see additional levels of detail show up as we zoom in. So first, of course, we've got those transmission substations as dots, and then you start seeing orange lines filling in between them. Those are high voltage transmission lines. And as we zoom in further, you'll start to see additional detail. So here, buildings start to pop up. And as we zoom in very close, you'll see parcel lines as well. These fine yellow lines are property parcels, and the red lines here are distribution level infrastructure, your low voltage lines. All of these buildings that are in blue are buildings that we've completed our energy modeling on. We have a threshold at 10,000 square feet of footprint to do that. So buildings over that size we've modeled, and you'll see them in blue. And any one of those you can click on, and it's going to open what we call the place card. This is the card where all of the information about that specific building lives. And I'm going to say, no, it does not already have rooftop solar. What you'll see on the front of the place card is the headline savings estimates that would be available from adopting measures or a specific set of measures. Here, the highest savings available on this building is with a combined solar plus energy storage system. And we would estimate that would save 35% off their current annual electricity spend. And if they were to do a standalone solar system without the energy storage, that could save them 24% off their existing energy or electricity bills. More detail on those quotes is given here on this quotes tab. So as we click into that, we'll see our system sizes. First, we've sized that roof and estimated that it could host 3,900 panels. That is accounting for likely obstruction and setback requirements, egress requirements, and those sorts of things. So 3,900 panels would likely equate to about 1,300 kilowatts of solar. And for an installation in Ontario, California, Southern California market of that size, we would expect a break-even PPA price to come in at about 7 cents per kilowatt hour, putting it 58% under the grid price of electricity at this location. And the solar array here, we think, could provide about 90% of this building's electricity. Pairing storage with that, we would recommend a 640 kilowatt energy storage system, and that's a 2-hour system, so 1,280 kilowatt hours worth of capacity in that system here. And we're also indicating that this building is likely going to qualify for, or could likely qualify for, California's SCHIP incentive to help reduce the cost of that battery. Further down here, we also see a cost advantage to doing just a standalone energy storage system if this building was interested in that. And here, we would estimate that this system would be roughly half of what we have recommended above. The reason is because this one is sized just for doing demand charge management, whereas when paired with solar, it's sized to do both demand charge management and increase the amount of solar self-consumption that's possible by essentially load shifting through hours of the day. Now, how do we get these quotes? This is the most common sort of set of questions that I get. And we've really sort of walked through that step by step in a logical way on these subsequent 3 tabs. So let's just step through them. The first thing that we're doing for any property is pinging the county tax assessor office. And from the county tax assessor, we're pulling the parcel number, the owner, where that's made available, the zoned use for the parcel, and information about what structure is on that parcel as well. So we'll get the square footage, the number of stories, and from that we'll be able to extrapolate the building's footprint and subsequently its roof size and its rough height. We're also able to pin it to a specific location and at the zip code level. And we can pull from that weather information, which allows us to do essentially a thermal energy model of the average building with these physical characteristics in this place. And then we're also pulling that zoned use from the county tax assessor and typing the business activity or categorizing the business activity that's going on at this location. Once we have that, we can run that through our proprietary energy modeler for that's segmented by business activity type, overlay that with a thermal energy model of that structure, and produce essentially an 8760 for any commercial and industrial building in America. And we'll present that on the energy tab in a disaggregated way, separating out the equipment load, the lighting load, and any HVAC load as independent characteristics. So you can see that for any building. And that's by month of the year here at the bottom. And once we have that model, it allows us to really make a couple of key calculations. One is the estimated annual electricity consumption at the facility, which in this case is 2.3 gigawatt hours per year, and estimate the annual peak of every facility. And again, we know exactly where that building is, so we know what utility serves it. And once you know the utility, the consumption, and the peak, you're able to match a building with a likely tariff. So on our grid tab here, we'll show you in every case for every building in the country that we've assessed, what tariffs might likely apply to that building, which one we think it is, and our degree of confidence that we're identifying the correct one. Here in SoCal Edison territory, there are a lot of likely applicable tariffs. We're modeling right now off of the TOU option D, but the TOU option B may be in place at this building as well. Out here to the right, we've got links to every tariff we've looked at and assessed. Clicking on that will open SCE's PDF of that tariff. So once we've matched it with a tariff and again estimated the consumption and peak demand, we're able to price essentially their annual spend on electricity at this location. So on an annualized basis or a levelized basis, we would expect that this facility is paying about 15.5 cents per kilowatt hour. 42% of that is demand. 57% of that is commodity. And then we have this small portion of the bill that's fixed cost. With both the fixed cost and the demand, we've levelized them over the annual consumption to give an apples to apples comparison and roll up into the price. So this gives us our price to compare against once we've estimated the cost, the PPA price of that solar system. And that gives us our overall savings figure estimate of, I think for this building, it was 34%, if I remember correctly. Further down here on the grid tab, you'll see a lot of other really valuable information. Anytime we can identify that a building might qualify for an incentive program based on its location, we'll list it out here. You'll remember we called out that California's self-generation incentive program could cover roughly, or would be expected to be able to cover roughly 50% of the energy storage system at this location. Indeed, you'll see that highlighted here as well. In addition, this building is in an AB 1550 low-income community and an SB 535 disadvantaged community. Both of those can come with financial incentives as well. And below that, we've shared any information we know about a building that can help your interconnection applications. So here's the circuit that's closest to this building. That would be the hydrant circuit. And here's the substation as well. Again, that's SCE utility territory and CAISO as our independent system operator or our grid operator. So that's the information that you'll see for any building. It rolls up to that place card. Oh, it was 35% savings at this site. That's a really nice site. And you can tour around the map clicking on any of these buildings to get that same sort of information all layered in. We've got this, like you saw at the beginning, all across the country. So any of these buildings you can click on and see that place card. There are a couple of other really nice things about this map mode as well. You know, you can sort of toggle around and see an area and find buildings that look interesting, exploring. You can also layer, you know, let's say I want to shade the buildings by their solar potential so that the best solar candidates pop off the page to me, or by battery potential. Here, the darker the green, the bolder the color, the better the prospect for energy storage. We can do the same for annual peak, annual consumption. We could even layer, let's say we wanted to see solar potential in satellite mode. We can view it that way as well. So we'll take it back to the default here. And I'll also show our search function as well. So search can find specific addresses, or it can find buildings by name in a lot of cases. So let's say you're working with BASF as a potential client, and you know they have a facility near Edison, New Jersey. Sure, let's go with Raritan Center Parkway. And that's going to fly us directly to the BASF facility in Edison, New Jersey. And we can see also all of its surrounds. It's in a very industrial area here, it looks like. We can also, you know, click on any of the buildings that are around that one as well and see all that same information. It doesn't matter where we are in the country. So let's say we wanted to find BASF near Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll just hit enter, and that is going to fly us to their location in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we can open the place card just the same. And having information across the states in a really consistent format is very helpful when dealing with a portfolio client, because it allows you to speak knowledgeably about all of their sites in the same terms, and again, without requiring them to provide you with any bill actuals up front. Can really help lead a conversation. In addition to names, we can search by specific address. So let's say we want to check out 8500 Wade Boulevard. Sure. In Frisco, Texas. Yeah. Let's go to Frisco, Texas and see. This is Otis Spears Elementary School. And we can see as well on our location tab, it is a municipally owned building. It's great to be able to confirm the ownership like that.